So I'm going to try to go through this in one fell swoop. What we're looking at is the concept around how to take camera feeds and assign them to given outputs. I've taken a framework that I spoke about previously that allows you to create these software interfaces for network traffic. So in this case, I'm creating a object for camera 1 and an object for output 1. And what you're going to see on the left side is a series of different objects. And I'm going to go now and select the debug object, which will allow us to look at the resultant data stream. So I have a source generating camera feed or network traffic for camera 1. And what I'm going to do is clear the output, the debug output. I'm also going to deploy what I've done, which means make it live. And what you're seeing here are the messages for camera 1. It's not going to output 1 yet because it hasn't been assigned. Now I've got output 1, 2, 3, and 4 in these little debug windows. So you'll see that when they're connected, you'll start getting output going to the windows. So we're going to deploy what we just did here. Now let's take a look at output 1. We're actually getting our data, and then we're going to go back to the editor, and let's go ahead and create an output, for instance, the second output. We'll go ahead and give it a output name, in this case output 2. So I've got them hard coded as out 1, 2, 3, and 4, and in this case we're creating output 2, and we're going to go ahead and rename output 1 also, just to have a little consistency. They'll auto name according to the topics that you're assigning them to, but for now we'll just go ahead and name them appropriately. Now whenever we hit deploy, you'll notice that it'll say connected because it literally does connect to the system. So we've got output 1 running happily, and then we've also got output 2. So I hit enter a few times so you can see it's refreshing. Now what we're going to do is go back and send some data to output 2. So let's go ahead and just kill this connection from output 1, and let's feed it over to output 2 just to start that process. So we're going to go ahead and deploy, make it live. Now let's go back, look at the debug information. You can see the output, but more importantly, output 2 is now receiving data. Now we've taken output or camera 1's data and fed it to output 2. So we have this matrix of inputs and outputs. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy. So I hit Control C when the camera 1 object was highlighted. I'm kind of anal, so let me line these up. And now what I've done is I did a Control V, I pasted it. So let me rename that. So it's going to connection topic 2, and I'm going to call it camera 2. So let's go ahead and fix these. Let's get rid of camera 1 feeding output 2, and let's click on the nodes, get out camera 1 to output 1. Let's get camera 2 to output 2. Let's go ahead and deploy the systems that we're working on, and let's feed camera 2 also into the debug mode or node. And now you'll see camera 1 and 2 are actually feeding the debugger, and that's good. It lets you see that there's real traffic coming through. And now we're actually having camera 1 feed output 1 and camera 2 feed output 2. And this is all done via drag and drop and setting very, very few properties. So I'm going to go ahead and do my copy paste function again. And this gets a little boring here, so feel free to fast forward a little bit if you want. So I'm going to go ahead and create cameras 3, 4, and outputs 3 and 4. All right, so we're going to go ahead and connect the outputs to their inputs. And let's go ahead and run those debugger connections as well, so we can watch everybody's data flow. Now the debugger messages will actually happen in real time. You don't have to deploy to get those debugger messages. So now we're happy. We can see connection or camera 1, 2, 3, and 4. But not only that, their respective outputs 1, 2, 3, and 4 are also receiving data feeds. Now we can do this with any type of TCP data, UDP data, or what have you. What's also nice, just for those who need the aesthetic pleasant view, is that you can select the whole grouping of nodes or section of the nodes, drag them around, move them around, straighten them out, and you're basically, once you've made your changes, go ahead, deploy, save, and then your settings are actually saved to the system. And that's about as hard as it gets.